Spring is the best season for fire signs. I know summer might seem like the obvious answer, but this April is all about that starting point in the journey when you still haven't been discouraged by any obstacle inherent to any adventure. With that said, the new moon happening on the first day of the month is the best start anyone can get. This lunation occurs in your 5th house, the place of joy, excitement, and creativity. This new cycle promises to be full of carnal excitement. The 5th house is really not a symbol of plain happiness. This is the place where Venus rejoices, and so we get all the luxurious and sensual symbolism. Speaking of Venus, she, along with Jupiter and Mars, play a significant role in the rulership of this moon. This connects the themes of the vigor of the 5th house with your home life with the 4th house. If you have children, you might end up spending a lot of time with them. Conversely, those who are single or are trying to get pregnant have a good time ahead. If you haven't noticed the sexy undertones of the 5th house yet, this is the house of the kind of excitement that generates offspring. The singles sure have some exploring to do. On a more tricky note, however, on April 4th, we have the more difficult transit of the month. This is a Saturn and Mars conjunction happening in your 3rd house of siblings, communication and routine. While this can hit different Sagittarius in different degrees of extremities, this can be pretty significant if you're around 28 to 30. At its core, the 3rd house symbolizes those familiar things in our lives, but to such an extreme degree that it sometimes just disappears in the background. Still, when anything from that sphere goes missing, you begin to tell how much you relied on it. The nature of Saturn and Mars yields separations and distance. With that in mind, the events of this transit could lead you to change up your day-to-day in a way that seems forced and abrupt. The malefic planets require some emotional maturity to navigate through. Take the time to move through this. And if you need, you can pay a visit to the 5th house from time to time to distract yourself a little. Responsibly and in moderation, of course. A vital house to revisit is the 4th house. Like mentioned earlier, this is the place of home life and family. With the conjunction of the 2 blessings planets, Venus and Jupiter, happening in that house, you can expect your home to be a comfortable shelter from the stresses of the external world. With Neptune also transiting through that house, you might even find yourself throwing a wine diner party as he also conjoins with Venus on the 27th of this month. So when things get tough, know that there's still a joy to be found. To keep up with the good energy, the full moon this month is also ruled by this lively Venus. It also happens in your 11th house, and that's where we find friends and trusted associates. If by now you didn't get that this month promises lots of party and excitement, the lunation is the last cherry on top. After the occasional house party, all there's to consider is the positive Mercury and Pluto trine happening between your 2nd and 6th house. Funny enough, this can point to accidents and mishaps that lead to significant breakthroughs. So maybe in one of those more challenging days, something disheartening happens, and right after, it opens the way for another big door. Still, because this is Mercury we're talking about, you'll have to be smart and pay attention to where these opportunities might be hiding. It could very well be in a place you'd naturally avoid because it seems too troublesome. But don't let that hold you back. What might seem like a tremendous amount of effort at first could end up becoming second nature in a short while. Pluto in the 2nd house of assets also strongly implies that there's money to make. Though again, this is the lord of the underworld, and as much as you'll undoubtedly find gold there, you'll have to dig deep. Don't be afraid to take risks. Know that you'll always have a home to come back to. Good luck, Sagittarius.